Alright, welcome back everyone. I have been out this past entire week. My wife's work was on travel, so I went with her to watch our son. So I didn't really get to play this past week. Not streamed, sorry. I played one league offline yesterday because I thought it was too rushed to stream. I didn't want to rush it. So this is my second league, I guess, back from not really vacation, but more like a trip. You want to call it work for my wife, then that's probably the best description. Unfortunately, it's been pretty hectic this past week. Well, besides travel, our son is sleeping. His sleeping pattern is a lot irregular now. So if I get up for a random reason, then you'll know why. He would have woken up from his sleep. I just The stream is starting later than normal because it took a while to for him to sleep because he's growing, I guess. Without further ado, though, here's my current list. I think the only thing that will probably stand out is pretty. The main deck I think is identical to what I played last week on stream, which we only finished the first three matches, but I finished the last two offline for the 5-0. The change was in the sideboard. I think I like Leyline of Sanctity because it's good against the Storm decks, which we're kind of weak against. It doubles against essentially. It's good against most Dark Ritual decks, and one of them being Reanimator is pretty relevant too because sometimes it feels like we're short on cards, uh, on relevant card density in that matchup. So that's one of the nice things about Leyline of Sanctity. I know in a lot of metas, Storm is not a thing. So if you don't need additional hate for Storm, then you can kind of disregard Leyline of Sanctity. But I think where it also helps is the opposition agent matchups can be difficult, especially when they have their better hands, a Dark Ritual into agent. And what Leyline does is it allows you to potentially, or allows us to potentially race in theory against some of these hands. I found myself losing to Dothy Voidwalker more than I'd like, and typically it's because they strip me of whatever relevant interaction, so I can't get there in time, so to speak, right? So, and not to mention it stops their helm combo incidentally, so that's pretty cool too. So we'll try it and see how it goes. Yeah, I'm always a proponent of Leyline too. I t- I mentioned it, excuse me, on my Patreon that my ideal I think sideboard is like 15 one-ups. The reason why I don't do that is because you can only get away with doing that if all of the sideboard cards are of roughly equal value, and at least for now, and for the history of L's or Cradle, I guess, right? Like, I don't think that to be true. So, in context of Cradle right now, I think Thoughtseize and Snuff Out in particular are significantly better than the other options. And actually, Invigorate is not that far behind. I think the next tier of like viable playable cards would be like the Force of Vigors. The Veil Summer there is really just something that can be boarded in against Blue Temple that doubles as combo hate. It's me kind of doing the bare minimum against these Days Wasteland decks. I have not been a fan of something like Choke in a very long time because I just don't think it's good enough against a broad enough number of matchups, personally. So, like, obviously, it's probably decent against Control, but even then they have like Leyline Binding now. I think it's kind of slow against Delver, and against Combo, it's probably slow. Yeah, I don't think it's fast enough is part of the problem, and I don't think the universal applications is like if you look at my sideboard, it's pretty much all free spells, right? Like outside of Thoughtseize, more or less. And carpet as well, fast, same thing, right? I just don't think, like, I don't think I need help against the blue decks. I'll put it that way. This is a pretty solid hand. Lately, I've been thinking, like, what is the best creature in this deck? I think depending on who you ask, the answer is gonna be very different. Like, I used to say it was Elvish Reclaimer, but Dorks is just so good now. Like, in the way that because of the way the deck is built. Looks like we're getting mooned potentially. Sure. I guess here they value the here they're valuing the ability to lock out my turn one play, right? Over the additional would be 7 damage. Which I think is potentially correct. Entirely possible they this goblin is discussed. I actually think this matchup is like pretty good for us. Personally, I think we will typically lose game one, is my experience, because we have a lot of dead cards against them. I think our sideboard is like kind of incredible against them. Um, okay, so we thinned there because we wanted to increase the odds of finding Alistair Shepherd. We did not. That's okay. We'll get the endurance. Oh, that's a mistake. I was supposed to get a land, but I don't. Maybe it doesn't matter. That was a mistake. I like thought to get the thing, and I don't know why I took the endurance there, which is, I just said is bad in the matchup. The good thing is it may not matter. I really needed to hit a land, but this is a mistake by me. We're just gonna try to get the natural order. So, yeah, that's pretty bad. Might have cost me this game because of the misplay. I was thinking about it too because I need the land to play a turn two play, and I don't know why. Like, I took the endurance. If we draw a land, then maybe we'll get bailed out here, but if we don't, we're heavily punished. Sure. So we just gotta hit a land here, and oh, because I don't think it matters. Like, I'm just trying to cast natural order. Like your one drops don't. I don't care about playing my one drops. Alright. So we got punished. Probably Muxus here, yeah. Big time punished. my god. The good thing, I guess, is didn't really matter. So potentially, or we're done. I'm not sure what mattered. Against like we could have drawn into invigorate technically, but so let's see. If assuming our opponent knows what to do, um, they can technically just sack whatever we choose to block. Maybe they don't think to do that, but we can block something, gains a bunch, but it's still a lot of damage, right? Like I think we probably still lose. So it makes me feel a little better, I guess. Assuming my opponent knows what to do. Um, I think this is. Let me look at my sideboard map. But I did mention, like I said, I do think we're not favored game one because we have a lot of dead cards and um, their deck is like almost like a combo deck, so it's like pretty lean against us. Against this deck, oh, looks like I like the endurance better than the shepherds. I suspect they will board out the chalices, but who knows? Maybe they'll keep it in. They should be boarding out the chalices at least. This is pretty good. This is the best card in the matchup. So we have to fetch Bayou preemptively in case they have one of their nut hands. Um, I think we just leave with a Reclaimer, to be honest. Because we can get a basic next turn. Normally I ramp, but like we're not really ramping to natural order. And I think I want to be able to play around Blood Moon here. Or Magus of the Moon. Sure. Mm. So the question here is like, do we play the lair? I think so. I don't think ramping does us any good here. So I'm just gonna play that out. It's possible I'm supposed to play a fetch so I can, make grow to 3/4. I don't think that actually matters here. Like if they want to fear me, they can fear. Like it hits it anyways. I want the ability to not have a tap line later on, essentially. All right, we'll get ready to snuff this out. They probably attack. I don't think we care. Maybe we just waste them here, actually. Now that I think about it. Yeah, we don't have anything going on, so let's do that. I don't hate it. Question here now is like, do we hit the tomb or the? I think we just take out their soul land. Uh, Or how are they gonna do this? 4, sure. I think we just ramp. What do they have? Sure. I don't think we care. I actually think the Wasteland was pretty good. They can't hardcast Fury, which is hard for us to beat. With at least not without natural order. What a 7. I don't think that's a problem. It's pretty good. Alright, that was easy enough. Game 3. Snuff Out completely changes this game. Actually, the Wasteland was pretty big too. Do we want anything else? I mean, there's a argument for Force of Vigor to try to cheese a win. I don't think that's probably the best play. Yeah, this matchup. If we wanted to make it better, we could play like Snuff Out main, but I think Snuff Out is like kind of bad in some other map cases. So if you're seeing a lot of this matchup, I think in your local metagame, that's probably a reason to play Snuff Out main. Hey, Max, how's it going? I think a couple of things, to be honest. Um, I started playing it like last week before I went on travel. I played one league with it. I didn't draw it last week, so it wasn't relevant. I played one league last night when I got back from travel, and it was like relevant against Reanimator. There's two reasons why I'm playing it now. I mentioned at the beginning of the stream that uh, we're we are a little bit soft to I think some of these storm decks otherwise. But I realize a lot of metagames, don't really have storm presence, so that may not be relevant for a lot of people. Number two, I think our deck can struggle against these dark ritual decks with opposition agent, and the problem is like we can beat an agent with um, we can power through an agent, but typically not backed by hand disruption, and it helps there. I wanted a card that mapped against Storm and against some of these opposition agent decks. The other thing was um, it helps against Reanimator too, which we're a little bit short on cards, like for density wise. I think here we're gonna fetch before. Well, what are they doing? I think in case we want to hit a forest here. I just want to hit land drops to get to natural order, like safely. We're gonna force out Fury here. Like, there's no need to commit to the board. If they don't sweep, we attract to them. I think it's that. Game is probably over. I have a snuff out already. Like, how do I lose this game? Probably they somehow kill the Atraxa. The Invigorate here is pretty good. Let's take the Wasteland, the Natural Order. Well, I think Hoof is still in our deck. Only one creature in the Invigorate. Snuff Out's really good, but they could just Magus us here. So I think I'm going to hedge a little bit against that. I don't. Yeah, no, I feel you on the protecting him from hand disruption. I don't really think our deck is a mid-range deck for what it's worth. Let's get rid of this. I know a lot of people like call it a mid-range deck. It's really a deck of multiple game plans. And sometimes that's mid-range, sometimes that's not. But like, I think the game's over. We're just gonna snuff this out. Yeah. Uh, so that played out pretty much how I foreshadowed, right? We lose game one. We're pretty heavily favored games two and three. Also, the other thing was like, it seems like all the cool kids are playing Leyline of Sanctity now, so why not play it as well? Historically speaking, Leyline of Sanctity has been a big thorn in our side. Out of specifically Doomsday, but even before Doomsday recently adopted Leyline of Sanctity, um, Oops All Spells like literally shuts off every card. Like it shuts off Reclaimer for Bog, it shuts off Endurance, it shuts off Thoughtseize. Uh, Oops, this out of Oops has been very problematic, but um, I just think I had some free spots, and before this was like a Mindbreak Trap and like a Needle, I think, in the previous league I played that from last week. But I do think we need to shore up the opposition agent matchup and the storm matchup, so it helps there conveniently. And I'm not gonna respect Green White Depths at the moment. I don't think that deck has put up any results lately. So the reason why I was running crop rotation before was because you need a way to answer God of Teague out of Green White Depths, but I just don't think I'm just gonna ignore that deck. I think. Yeah, I think that you have a good point, Max. Like these decks that double as like fair but can play I mean unfair but can play a fair game. Obviously like a learned food chain painter, as you mentioned. For us, that natural order slash attracts is the unfair part, right? Like we cast one spell and won the game. Like and there was no reason to like run into fear over there. They're not gonna pressure us. Like we don't need to commit. Yeah, I think if you're looking, I've seen people struggle against this goblin deck. Um, if you, I think our deck is like pretty good against it. I don't think it's like a heavy favorite, but I do think we're favored post board. With the expectation you will probably lose game one. Outside of some corner case, like it's possible for them to beat us post board, and it's possible for us to win game one. But again, you have to probably draw pretty well, and they probably don't, right? Like game one. Sure. The unfair portion of our deck. 4 mana, I win, right? Um, I guess we'll thin. I'm all about trying to get percentages when possible, and I see a lot of players. It like an eyesore for me when I watch somebody who doesn't sequence correctly. And I think the sequencing for this deck is harder than you some people realize. Like it's just not as punishing as if. Well, it's weird because I actually think the sequencing is slightly easier than it is in a glimpse build. I just think in a glimpse build people get away with it because they run Nettle Sentinel, which is like training wheels. Um, I but me, I don't want to run like a bad card, right? Like that's like a win more card in my opinion. Here, let's just sequence properly. Maybe I doubt they would force this, but you never know. Maybe they do. I don't know. If they do, that's better because that means the Phenar is going to resolve. Probably. So let me force this. I think they have to. So what makes this card good and what makes Reclaimer good is unless they're playing Stifle, they have to interact with it on the stack or have removal, right? Like otherwise, if they can't stop it later on, so to speak. Like so, the investment, the initial upfront investment is lower. So compare that to like a green sun for like five, right? I don't really want to do something like that. Or what's a card that people play before, like five drop Nissa? Like I don't really like those kind of cards because the upfront cost is high. Okay. Wow. Okay. They missed land drop. So let me see. How do I want to do this? Five. So it's uncounterable. Unless they for some reason have a mind break trap game one. Yeah. All right. Looks like we're playing against ACAS. This matchup has changed a lot over the last few months. Obviously, we just the reason why was just on display. The patchwork automaton makes it so snuff out is like kind of bad against them now, and I think a lot of their users have figured out Emery, while a good card, kind of does not play into their hands. So like their path to victory, in my opinion, is they have to have an unchecked Saga that's fast, or like unchecked Cannoneer that's fast, backed by either Chalice or Force. Emery plays for a slower game, and I think that favors us. So a combination of both things, where like Snuff Out is just really bad now. I like actually the Invigorates in this matchup because they have Dismember for your collective, and an Invigorate has won me multiple games because your collective turns to a 6/6 that survives their Dismember. Let's take out all the endurance, which are bad. Let's see, how do I board here? One nice thing of having a sideboard map is I don't have to think. I've already solved this puzzle once. I think, okay, it looks like I keep the Gris over the Bog, which is like reasonable. Um, One thing that's nice is Lair beats their Cage potentially, but those matchups are those games are a little bit weird, so we'll keep it. Sure. Looks like a Chalice. Sure. All right, so we hit our 2 second land drop. Otherwise, I think we would not fetch before the once, because in case the once doesn't hit the Allosaurus Shepherd, we want to be able to cast on two. I think now we can just once, because we have three lands. I think we want the fetch land to be a arbor in case we flood. Okay, we got the Shepherd, which is like really nice. Also, there was a point where I was down to one Shepherd. This specific matchup is why I want the second one. It's because you don't want to accidentally lose to these Chalice decks. Majority of them will board out Chalice against you, like initiative, but this matchup in particular suffers a lot from a lower Shepherd count. So one thing that they may try to do here, if they have the dismembers, they're gonna wait for us to play the one drop, and then kill the Shepherd in response. Because of that, I'm gonna want to play a land to veil just in case. Okay, so there you don't have it. Um, we're gonna save the green sun. We have also 3, 4, 5, 6 mana available. We can't quite get a Traxa next turn, but outside of a second Cradle, but we can like lock out their deck. So they get. I don't think we care about these doctors. Like they don't. I don't think that's the kind of game they want to play, to be honest. All right. We can lock out their cards right now. The problem is then they still have a board presence. It depends if we want to just try to end the game or not. My gut feeling is I think we just want to end the game. We get punished if they draw a cage. That would be the punish. But I think I'm just gonna pass. Like it's a little awkward if we get Collector Oof and then suddenly they have either Saga or Cannoneer. They target the bobble. I don't think we care. Oh sure, that's true, Mike. So we're probably home free here. I think there's not many outs they have, right? We have the Veil too. I don't think we care. I guess that's free. Let's do it like this. Should be over. Um, all right. This played out easier than we thought. I don't think my opponent um, game plan was geared was the right game plan against us. I don't think they either didn't keep a good hand or they misboarded it because I don't think it's supposed to be that easy. I mean, I don't think the match is bad per se, and historically, it's one of our best matches. It's not as good as it once was, like maybe the way it was like Eternal Weekend 2021, but I still think it's pretty good. It just needed to be adapted for their new list. So I I used to think this matchup was a bye, and then I finally lost a game because of Snuff Out, and then I like went back to the drawing board. Like I had a couple close calls and enough to get my attention, and I finally lost a match against 8cast, and I realized I should not be keeping in Snuff Out because I had not factored in the way that they had adapted to us, namely, uh, Snuff Out is not very good against their ward creatures, and also they a lot of them just board out Emery now too, so it's just like just dead a lot of times. Not to mention the addition of Invigorate changes things a lot. It's a hard counter against Dismember. The other thing it does is it in some of these weird games where they have constructs, you can just like pump your thing. And great question. Yeah, so I'm on zero Bowmasters. I just don't think the card is very good. Or maybe that's not right the way, not the right way to phrase it. I just don't think it's needed in our deck. I'm on zero. Like I've been on zero for a while. Uh, I don't really love this hand. Go to five. What was our? Oh, it was a five lander. I don't think we can keep that either. Is it like this? So they've on oops a lot of times. Play to win, I guess. It's okay. So back to the Bowmaster conversation. Um, it's yeah. So Carador here hinted at that's like part of it, right? Like I just don't think the juice is worth the squeeze, so to speak. So like I don't think having to fetch Bayou is worth it. It when we otherwise would just fetch. Oh my god. Well, that was interesting. So they are on oops. I really have a disdain for this matchup, win or lose, because I just think the games play themselves. You can't outskill your opponent. But the other reason why is I just think it's not unlike so the cards that replaced Bowmasters have typically been like the 7 and 8 exalted creatures, and which part cooldown max? The Cabal therapy naming endurance. Um, my guess is they know what I'm on, and that's the only card they care about. I think the only way we beat that hand is we went like turn one reclaimer. Oracle. Where's the Dread return? It's presumably in the yard already. All right. We're probably gonna lose this match. I just mentioned it too, right? Like they have Leyline of Sanctity. I don't think we're favored in this matchup. Like, unless we steal game one, which we did not. Okay, so back to the Bowmasters thing. One, the mana restriction. Even if it was green, I'm not sure I would play like more than one. The reason being is because it's just not good against a lot of decks. Like, it's not good against Moon Stompy. It's not good against like DNT. I don't think, in my opinion. Like, I'd rather just have dorks that are always good, right? That's kind of the crux of it, right? I want all my cards to be high impact, and I think it's worse than a dork in our deck. Like the I think the biggest draw to playing our deck, or one of the biggest draws, is the consistency. I don't know if there's a more consistent deck in terms of like always doing the same thing than ours. So what I mean by that is like we have 8 mana dorks just because I always want to start off the match the same way, and because of that, the Green Sun's Zeniths in our deck are closer to Demonic Tutor than they are to like getting a Dryad Arbor, right? The other thing is like all the paths always lead back to Cradle for a track. So like that's some people call it linear. I think I call it consistent. Like it is what it is. If you want, if it's boring, it's boring. But I always want to just stick in that track center play, and it's hard for opponents to typically beat that. Um, this is the number one option. Hoof is there just to like finish them off, so to speak. But it's really the secondary natural order target now. All right. This is gonna be rough. Let's see. So against a lot of these graveyard decks, I will board out the natural order package, and the reason being is because you don't need it to win. Like if you virtually soft lock them with Reclaimer, then it doesn't matter. It's a little bit different when they have Leyline of Sanctity, obviously. Um, is everything else relevant? Looks like I boarded Leyline of Sanctity. Interesting. Maybe it's just better than like Reclaimer, or sorry, better than Fiend Artisan. I don't think that other stuff matters. Sure, I guess. The other thing is like, what is Bowmasters in the context of our deck even good against? Like Delver, our Delver matchup is like probably the best it's ever been, to be honest. Uh, I don't think they want to face us. Is my personal opinion. I think it's pretty lopsided actually. And it's not even always good against Delver because it exposes your mana. Not to mention it doesn't do anything against like Murktide Regent. I think here, do we just get a land or what? Or do we get an endurance? Like how greedy do I want to be? They can't disrupt the endurance, but they can pact it. The land means I can like untap into a reclaimer. I feel like the second layer is pretty good here, especially since they can't. Okay, so they have 2 balustrade spies. We can, I guess, take their land. If we get a land here, it's probably game over. And then our end game now is just get a reclaimer. Yeah, yeah. I thought about it too. I was like, I think we just want to be safe, especially with it protected, right? Argument to be made, I should just ramp there actually, because I can just pitch with the endurance. I don't think it matters. Like, it's whether they have the kill or not here. I think so too, Romario. I think that was correct, but I don't think we're gonna get punished. I think it's whether they have it or not. Sure. Jeez. Okay. Nothing you can do about that. All right, we're just dead. So, did they bring in discard against us? Looks like they did not. Something to keep in mind in the future. Yep. What can we have done differently? I don't think any of this would have mattered. Technically speaking, we could have kept it like part of the natural order package, but I think sometimes you just get lucky, right? Like they can't cabal therapy or something like that. That the matchup is like bad, but we don't expect to play that. Romario does bring up a good point though. We should have played out the ramp because it would allow us. We still have the pitch, but in the grand scheme of things, I don't think it would have mattered. Our misplay wouldn't have been punished anyways. It was kind of brutal because if we hit the land drop there, we probably just win, right? Like we force our opponent on a one-turn clock for the reclaimer. The the one thing, like I said, right, win or lose, I don't really enjoy that matchup because it feels like both sides are just the decks play themselves or the hands play themselves. In case they have days for some reason. I think my favorite matchup actually in all of Legacy right now is the Doomsday Cradle matchup. I think there's even though there's only like 3 turns, there's a lot of play on both sides. So if I do that, I can get a Grist right now. It's probably worth it. Might draw a Force. Two mana do nothing is interesting. I almost wonder if they have like I don't know some flash thing right now. Also, thank you for the raise, Straz Daddy. I appreciate that. I don't know if I got a chance to say that earlier. My fellow Green Sun compadre. Speaking of Maverick, though, I actually have some ideas on how to build the deck or the way I would build it. The problem is like I between not having a rental service and just not having time in general, uh, I don't. I haven't got around to actually testing these theories, right? But if people are interested, I can like post what I have in mind on like the Discord channel, and if people are curious, maybe they can test it and just like let me know how it goes. But I, especially with the new card Breakout, I think coming out, I think I would probably build a deck around Fiend Artisan personally. We're not playing around days here in case they want to do something end step. I want to endurance hit the fetch land too. That's why. What do they pitch to the Earl? Sure. I think we're gonna do it now. There's a chance that I'm supposed to just like allow them to try to play around Boatmasters, but I think I want this to stick. No, I don't think I have a miracle trigger for a second. That might drop force if they have it because of the implications of your Earl. They're still kind of far from escaping it, but I do think, especially if we draw land next turn, we're probably gonna hardcast the endurance and then save the reclaimer for bog elevation if somehow they counter it. Otherwise, we get a cradle. Sure, that's actually really good for us. Interesting. We'll pass. The stifle is a little scary. A little bit scary. We're still gonna do it though. I think. Question is, what do we pitch? I think the Bayou. I don't want to get wasted out of the game randomly. Sure. I think we will bash. And then on upkeep, we're gonna endurance them. To waste their mana. I think they're all in on the Earl, is my guess. I think they're like some weird, like, Bant's tempo deck. Might be over. Might be over. We can attack with both. I just don't think there's a need to. I'm gonna put them to. Put them to 1 here. They're probably swords of endurance and response. That's fine. Yeah, I think so. That's my game plan, Romario. So their fetches are off now. Question here is, what do I do? I think I allow that. Cause yeah, I think I allow that. Because if they're spending mana to kill the Reclaimer, I guess I still want the Cradle regardless. So I think Romario's probably right. I guess it didn't matter. We're like pretty far ahead. How do I want to play this? Invigor is bad in this matchup. So is Collector Oof. I think because they're a plow deck, we cannot really rely on like. I think we probably have to keep Hoof in, if that makes sense. Like we can't. I don't know if we can just rely on endurance going the distance. Maybe it can. I think we want the Veil of Summer for sure. Question here now is like, do we want snuff out or not? Like we didn't see anything worth killing, so that's the other issue. They might be on the banned Stifle Knot deck, and in that case, the snuff outs would be pretty good. We saw multiple Earls though. Like why not? It could be relevant. Um, what's gonna be more live? The Thoughtseize or the snuff out? I feel like the Seize is probably more relevant. The endurance was good. We saw at least two Earls, so let's try this. Ugh. I think we mull. Yeah, that's a lot better. We know there are stifle decks, so if they just do nothing turn one, I think we just like play our fetch. If they do that, then we're gonna fetch first. The other thing Thoughtseize does is we can cast it off Igno, whereas Snuff Out we cannot. So we're gonna play around the stifle here. Granted, like it's kind of hard for our deck to play around stifle anyways, but I think as long as we have developed mana, we're probably okay. We can fight through like one or two stifle activation on our activation. One of the issues of doing the Reclaimer on our turn is it opens it up to Wasteland, but maybe that's okay. If they're spending mana on the Wasteland, it's probably good for us anyways, right? That means they're like behind already. Sure. Uh-oh. Interesting. Okay, so they are on the Stifle Knot deck. Um, I'm gonna bog them here. It's probably not great for us to be honest. Like, if they have two Stifle type effects, this is like one of the matchups I don't really want to play against because the variance is kind of high. In general, the more variance there is, the less I like it because I think we have the superior deck. And in general, it's like when in sports, right? Like if you're the better team, you don't want it to be raining, right? Like on the football field. And obviously, if you're the underdog in a matchup, you want more variance. So, for instance, If I don't feel favored in a certain matchup, I'm willing to take higher variance plays. Shoot. Yeah. We kind of suspected as much, but we couldn't guarantee it. Hopefully they just stifle that. Maybe they plow here. I don't know. Sure. Nice. I think here we can tick down now. What are we taking down? Probably just the arbor. Um, I think we want to hold the reclaimer so they can't waste us here. I'll just pass. If I had slowed down, the proper sequencing there would be to tap the artisan off the hierarch and the arbor, so that way I have two forests that so they can't force me to react by like trying to plow one of these creatures, for instance. Not that they would, because they should be plowing artisan anyways. But small sequencing mistake. Okay, interesting. I think we bog now while we get the chance. Um, okay, we already took it out. The layer has like text too. Do we care about wasteland? Probably not. I think we get the layer here. They're probably gonna waste us, but like, what can we do, right? If they have another dreadnought here, that's kind of bad for us because they're gonna waste our cradle. We only have 1, 2, 3, 4 mana, and then our grist is not gonna be able to kill it anymore. Um, I don't think they have it because I think they would have slammed it already. Sure. Is they gonna waste us here? That's fine. Oh wow. Jesus Christ. I don't know how this deck beats combo like with all the removal that they have. So they can hit us for 12. Probably attack the grist to be honest. This is a 4, 5, 6. No, it's not. You can't do it. Yeah, I guess. I don't know. They didn't even. What the hell is going on? They will waste a layer. I think we're okay with that. Yeah, I would imagine Storm beats this. Storm typically can handle a stifle. Like, I know, right? Oh, I forgot about the orb. I can't even like bounce the thing on myself, so uh, very awkward. Sure. Their like timing is like all off too. Like they should just wait till I attack then waste, cause I get an extra 3 damage here, right? Yeah. I mean, we didn't know what they were on. Like, I thought there was a chance they could be on this deck, but we didn't see anything game one. Now we know, right? We're gonna bash for 12. Well, we're definitely gonna block. Well, maybe not. Uh, we need that Atraxa. They wasted a wasteland on a layer too that was. Whew, we're one away from casting it. All right. Let's change how we board here. Seems like the Force Torpor Orb. The Snuff Out is really good, obviously. Um, Endurance, probably not actually. I think the way that they boarded, I actually don't think it's good here. I think we keep the Bog just cause. uh, what else? Like, there's an argument to be made. You just don't even keep this in because they're probably having like a million of these Hushbringer type effects. I do like the Force. It's just whether it's worth it. Wasteland doesn't seem particularly good against them. Let's try this. Whew. Uh, it's a little slow. Let's try it. One of the rare occasions we don't have a turn one dork. Ooh, that's pretty good draw, actually. Question here is like, are we gonna run out the bayou? Probably not. We can, but like I'm scared of the hands. Maybe this is like paranoia. That like that they have stifle for the grist activation. And we haven't drawn snuff out yet either. So what is gonna go happen here? You'd have to be plow into force. Or dress down into force. I have no idea. Like, probably. I mean, they probably had the Hushbringer instead of Proctor. There should be a dress down probably here. Uh, just in case it matters. I don't know if they have days or not. I think they are thinking about whether to force. I think they kind of have to. It's a little bit awkward now because we only have one grist. Um, I think the reason why they were debating it was because they probably have a dreadnought in hand that they, and maybe only one enabler. One grist. It's times like this. One grist is awkward. How do we board? Could be a containment priest too. So let's do it like this. Cradle's pretty damn good. So they know our hand already, but I want to get the extra mana for the Free Narders the next turn. We're not going to attack until open mana here. There is a reasonable chance they have Containment Priest. Unfortunately, we don't have the endurance to like put the thing back. Hey, always home. How's it going? Not that I'm aware of. I don't think so yet. Interesting. Okay. This is like worse than Hushbringer because we can actually pay the two. Like like what is it trying to stop? Beans or something? Okay, even better. I think I'm gonna pitch the Shepherd actually. 'Cause I think I want the mana. Oh, oh my god. I like clicked through it because I got distracted with the chat. Oh my god. Oh man, that's pretty brutal. I think I lost now. Pretty rough. Maybe it would have mattered. Actually, it would have because maybe they already had it. Make me feel better, I guess. Four, five, six, seven, eight. All right, we're dead. Well. Yeah, this. Yeah, we can't kill the Dreadnought right now because the artist is not big enough. I don't think we're winning through this. It's kind of unfortunate. The misclick hurt us. Maybe they already have force. I don't know. I have to look. I would have to look at the match. So if they did not have their mana tapped, then we know their top deck was the Dreadnought. I actually think, well, So they were okay. They were representing it the whole time. So they probably already had Dreadnought in hand, also based on their hand. So they probably drew either the force there or the pitch. So that's like pretty rough for us. Not saying we would get out of the hole there, but yeah, just unfortunate. The real unfortunate part was we didn't know what they were on game two and we lost like cause we kind of misboarded. But also got put into the X1 bracket by losing to Oops earlier. Our two losses, unfortunately, are decks that are like not very popular. Um, so it's hard to like make changes, right? Like I don't think I want to make changes because of Oops All Spells or the Dreadnought. Actually, to be honest, like the Dreadnought deck, we misboarded game two too, and we did misclick. All right, this is a meta deck. Probably one of the harder ones um, that we can play against. So one thing that Cascades typically have is the what is it called? The fire ice. Don't think I'm gonna. Well, all right. So it was a little bit awkward there because I could have just like technically like played a bunch of the Gris. I don't even know if that's like the best uh, line to be honest. Probably should have sequenced this first, but neither here nor there. Let's just like run everything out. We got a quad spell that turn. Sure. Smells like it certainly smells like Spirit Guide plus Violent Erupt or whatever the thing is called. Actually, I'm gonna ramp and then pass. So they don't, I was fully expecting them to play the flash one right now. That's kind of annoying. We're just gonna force it out because just cause like we have to fight through it essentially. They'll waste us. That's fine. can do it again. What are the odds? We have 4 mana here. Let me get that. How many wastelands can they have? Two mana up. It's almost like they have dispute maybe with the spirit guide, or if they don't have another threat, it's either dispute or maybe like a borrower, but they would have bounced the artisan. We take 8 here. I don't think we care. Oh, freak. Oh my god. I need to stop talking. Like, it's costing me games here. That was bad. They probably was holding fire and ice and waited till I tapped out. Interesting. We'll take that. I don't think we care. Might have our misclick might have just saved us here, which is the funny thing. I thought they were debating on casting Violet Outburst on their turn for the pump. Um, it kind of felt like they had like some kind of spirit guide and then or some other play here, and then they ended up having the fire ice. What I the only thing I can think of is like maybe they're playing around the like they're waiting me to tap and then, but that's not even true, right? Because unless they forgot, like they waited for me to tap and not sack the arbor so that they can kill the fiend artisan, but then they missed it later on. So like it felt like they had some other relevant card here, and then, but they were like crunched on mana. Yeah, exactly. Like, oh, does Violent Outburst go for their turn as well? Interesting. I thought it was only end of turn. Until end of turn, right? Uh, uh, all right. Invigorate is like obscene in this matchup. I don't like Snuff Out. Thoughtseize is fine. Take the combo piece. Veil of Summer. I brought out the Atraxa because some people like to try to get you with the inevitable betrayal. No grist, no endurance. So essentially, I'm boarding out all the stuff I don't want them to steal, in case they try to cheese me that way. Kind of disappointed. Only a potentially a 3-2 this league. No matchups against Beans or Delver is disappointing too. Because I would rather have the better practice, right? Or combo that is more relevant, like Reanimator. I mean, it's pretty common. Or I don't mind playing against Reanimator, I guess. What do we want to do here? I feel like it's Shepherd. This is a deck that could have Fury, for what it's worth. Or I don't know. The sweepers all play a little bit differently too, so that's a little scary. Um, I feel like it's the lair and then orange pass. They get me with the fire ice. They get me with the fire ice here. Yeah, I didn't tap right there. I don't think it mattered. I should have tapped better so I could. I was afraid that could happen. Ugh. This is a line that I think a lot of newer Cradle players don't know, which is the setup line, right? Where you're gonna get an Arbor. Yeesh. What is going on? What do I want to do here? I think we're just gonna try to plow through it, right? It feels like they have force. Maybe I don't know. That's why they would. I don't know. They might have force or not. They don't have pressure, which tells me like what else could the other four cards be? Sure. Is this a sorcery or an instant? Sorcery. I don't think getting a hoof from here matters. The sad part here is, sure, actually that's not. I feel like they have force, but what can we do? Like they had two. Our hand didn't line up well against theirs. Ugh. They have mince, sure. We don't have any more shepherds too. That's the other problematic part. So a hoof's not even lethal here. Oh, that is interesting. We can take 10, hold the veil. Interesting. We have our third shepherd now. I think we just pass. Because we board out the Atraxa, just to be safe. We'll take 10, go to 8. That's fine. Fire Ice would suck, but like, I think we can't play around that right now. Minsambu maybe? Sure. They tapped out, which is pretty good. So it had to be double force, right? Alright, I think we're all in here. We might as well just fetch it and just deck thin. Go to 6 here. I don't know why the bog is still in. I probably didn't follow the guide like closely. So if I do it, okay. Let's do it like this. I didn't sequence that properly, but I guess it doesn't matter. Alright, that was easy enough, I guess. Uh, 3-2. We lost to Oops and we lost to. I don't mind the Oops loss. This was kind of annoying because we didn't know what they were on game 2, and then we misclicked game 3. Losing to Oops, it is what it is. Like, we lost the coin flip. All right, I'm gonna take a quick restroom break. Would people be interested in like at least another partial league or whatnot? Like I don't. It's hard to make changes when the two losses were against decks that you don't really expect to play against. I don't remember what we played. We beat the decks that we were supposed to beat, right? 8 cast, Cascade. Which one was this against? Oh, Turbo Muxus. So all the meta decks we won the matchups, but we lost to the off meta stuff. Let me use the restroom real quick, and then I guess I'll see the feedback. I think the one nice takeaway was, oops. I think the nice takeaway was the Veil of Summer as a third Shepherd was like pretty relevant there. We'll run it back. We may not finish the league, but I just it's it's been a week since we played a stream, so and just in general, I haven't been playing leagues because of the trip. So we can get in some testing. Yeah, that would be nice. I do think the matchup is like I'm even debating now, like against Delver. Like, do we even need Snuff Out because um, the boarding plan against Scam, where we just keep in the natural order package, is like pretty good there. Granted, Delver is like lower to the ground than Scam is. Um, like I wonder if it's just Snuff Out's even worth it because I think the deck is just like pretty favored otherwise, and maybe we won't lose to random boarding like Price of Progress or whatnot. I think a few weeks back, I lost to some player who got me with Price of Progress just because like unorthodox boarding, right? Like I didn't have the foresight to shift accordingly when after seeing the first Price of Progress, I probably should have changed to adjust for if they were like trying to if they don't think they can beat me fair, I guess is probably the better way. Let's go to the board. I think the hard part about this deck is it's getting really hard for me to decide what to cut because I kind of need now like everything. Like the flex slots before, I guess you want to call these leyline sanctities the flex spots or whatever in those slots. But then one thing about like 5.0s being published now is like you kind of have to continue to change your sideboard because people will know what you're on otherwise, which is like kind of annoying. But the alternative is to change decks, obviously, which is an option but less fun. I think if I were to change decks, I'd probably just play Reanimator or something. It's just to like get through leagues quickly. All right, I will mulligan this. I think claim is really good. One thing I didn't foresee about it, keep. Uh, we have lands. I think we just toss the endurance back here and go lower to the ground if need be. If they're on reanimator, obviously it's gonna suck. But I think claim was pretty nice. The one problem I foresaw was uh, I started to have trouble against these like um, Urza Saga combo decks. So like anything maybe Tony Scapone would play, uh, along those lines, I think becomes significantly harder without zero mana interaction. And while Nature's Claim is better against some decks, I think Nature's Claim, for instance, is better against like Sneak and Show because they only have like one thing for you to kill. Um, I think you can work around those decks a little bit easier than you can against these decks that are like all in artifact combo. So that was kind of why I went back to Force of Vigor. Don't get me wrong, Claim was actually pretty good when I played it. It's just that I felt like I can make up for it, so to speak, against when it's a little bit worse, right? Whereas the other one had no room for outplaying, if that makes sense. Looks like our opponent is on Delver. Our opponent is saying good things about me, so that's pretty nice. They said their friend's favorite deck is the one we're playing right now. There is Delver. Ooh, missing land drops. So, question here is like, we're already vulnerable to Wasteland. So we might as well just fetch the body in case we draw the Gris. One benefit of not playing Bowmasters too is just like, in general now, we can just like be immune to non-basic hit game one. There's only one black card game one now. So here, it's gonna be a do or die situation for our opponent, right? Like, they have to. Ooh, interesting. I don't know if I would have done that personally. I wonder. I think I would have done that the previous turn if they had the brainstorm ready to hit land drops. Unless actually, did I? Yeah, they cast that Delver. I think I would have brainstormed, find the second land, then play the Delver. But that's me. So the interesting thing here is, I think our opponent is forced to deal with the Artisan, and because of that, we're gonna be able to cast a Natural Order for free. Like, I think it's a forced play from our opponent. If they have the bolt, they have to bolt the Artisan. Yeah. And then now we're gonna have a free 2 damage from the Shepherd, and then we're gonna put a unbeatable attraction into play. And same thing, right? Like, we're already weak to Wasteland, so we might as well continue playing into it. The only thing is, like, if they randomly have game 1 Blood Moon, right? Then obviously things change, but for the most part, I'm not putting them on that. One Screen Sun and probably Artisan. Let me think about Cage. Yeah, Cage is also good against something like a DNT, right? Where you don't really want to go down a card just to force the vigor. Also, like, that kind of effect is already a little bit worse against DNT now. They only have like 4 vials that you can hit, right? They typically will not go for GT. Because you just get blown out by Snuff Out. Like, you lose on the spot. If you go for the GTA plan and the Cradle player has a Snuff Out, you lose on the spot. Or if they have even the Force of Vigor, right? It's the same thing, you just lose on the spot. Not yet. Alright, I guess here, like, I do still like the Snuff Outs, just because they can have, like, the mana denial hand. Obviously, Natural Order is good there, but, like, I don't want to be weak to Cage. And I don't think it's necessary. I actually brought out the Wasteland in this matchup, because I don't think we want to draw it. Um, yeah, our opponent, let's call it, it's pretty friendly. So just quickly chatting. They're mentioning how if I was surprised that there were so many people with Cradle at Eternal Weekend. I actually don't think there were. Was my response, but the ones that did well, like Cass, like top forward, Cassandra, with our deck. I think we'll keep, and then um, what was I gonna say? Cass top four, and then decent, went X2. So the people who did take the deck, I think the deck is one of Cassandra mentioned it. It's one of the few decks I think in the format that rewards you both for like legacy knowledge and just good what's the word I'm looking for? Legacy knowledge in addition to good fundamentals, right? I think most of the decks don't really do that. It's like one or the other, right? Like Storm obviously will reward you more for like knowing the legacy format, what to play around. I think a deck like Delver um, rewards you for good fundamentals and then can reward you for legacy knowledge, but you're like less punished otherwise because of generic cards like Force of Will. I think a deck like D&T probably also does it pretty well, where they do both, right? I think we're just gonna slam threats. Uh, Goblins. I would say more so the Vile Goblins. Turbo Muxes, I think, is like a little bit less about that. All right. Presumably here the Phoenix is gonna die. Interesting. So one thing that I can see happening is they're waiting for that to happen, and then what was her one? I think they're leaving up days, but let me think. What do I want to play around? I feel like I don't want to run the endurance into days here, but I might have to. It's always awkward to have to go turn to artisan. I think we have to do it now. In case it sees the days. Delver and DRC, I think that's fine. This version of the deck of Delver is like favors us more because they're slower. I think the scariest tempo deck for me is something with a scam package because they have some like lines where if I don't have the right the endurance, then I just lose. So that's probably the scariest version against our deck because they have some cheese lines that can win, namely like turn two troll backed by permission. I think because this is more like a fair deck, so to speak, it's easier for us to navigate through. So if they want full value, they get the Delver, but then they get the Delver. We get another Artisan activation, which is like pretty devastating for our opponent. I think I want to start pressuring our opponent. Flooding a little bit, but that's okay. The conservative line there, which is to hold both endurances back, I think that's a little bit too conservative for my taste. I think the quicker we end the game, the lower the outs. It's not a great attack for our opponent either. Ah, okay, sure. Not sure I would have done that if I were them. Unless they really want to dig for the bolt. Maybe that's what they're doing. Alright, they're gonna heat the artisan, sure. One turn clock now. Hierarchs are so good for things for scenarios like this. Like our deck is suddenly more about a combat deck than ever. All right. What are we doing here? Do I want to kill the DRC or the Delvers? Or the DRC. I guess, do they have two bolts? Is what I'm afraid of. Oh, I might have just screwed up. Maybe I'm supposed to kill the well, it's hard to say. Maybe I'm supposed to kill the the insect of aberration so that the DRC is forced to attack, but maybe not. This is actually kind of funny. We lose the force here, but if we lose the force here, but if they triple attack here, man, that's tough. Dislike attacking with more than Arbor. I don't. Maybe I'm not understanding what you're saying. Okay, I'm. Um, yeah, I think I think it has to be like force of negation or whatever. Like the Arbor there was like relevant. It's pretty funny. The Invigorator won the game. Playing against Reanimator here. I think we have the boom, right? Triple Artisan. It's not what we want to see. Keep. I think if we assume that they're on Reanimator, we actually bin the Wasteland here. I don't. They can play around it. It's like we need the green pitch for the endurance. I think I blocked this person from the trophy. Might have been either yesterday or last week. I don't remember. This name looks familiar. Yeah, they could steal Gris, but like, I think Gris is how we win, right? Typically, I think of like our deck in terms of like disruption plus win condition. This hand doesn't have a win condition otherwise. I think we take the Artisan here. That's an easy line. I mean, they could, but like, I think if they thought seize, they probably thought seize the endurance, right? Yeah, I think it was yesterday. Went four. I played a league yesterday. I went 4-1. And I lost. I won against them yesterday. I don't know if they were going for trophy or not. Our loss was to Allurn, where our opponent actually trophied. I think here they're hellbent, right? What are we pitching here? It. Let them take the Gris. Here's my logic. If they take the Gris, we're gonna Artisan. They took the Artisan. Sure. I was just gonna Endurance myself, right? They almost stole game one yesterday too when I just happened to have turn one Reclaimer because my hand was bad. I didn't know they were on Reanimator, and then they almost powered through that game one. They won game two. I won game three because of Leyline of Sanctity. Hmm. Ironically enough, it's the Noble here because I can hardcast Attracts if need be. I think we got game two. I mean, this game one here. Endurance, it's like the green force of will, right? Like Reanimator historically has been our worst matchup, and suddenly now it's like not that bad. Um, I think we just get a Reclaimer, lock up the game. Actually, that was a mistake. I'm supposed to get an Endurance there. That was a mistake. So our opponent has live outs now because I am not playing smartly. Their outs just got smaller though. Yeah, all right. So you get endurance, you lock up the game there. Like there's I'm messing around. I think here I like the Seizes. I like the Leyline Sanctities. Veil Summers could be relevant if you're lucky. I don't like Collector Oop because it's typically too slow. I don't like Allosaur Shepherd either because it doesn't do anything. There's an argument to be made. Well, we just want to hit land drops, so even though Wasteland's not great, I think we just keep it in. We keep the hoof to go over the top. I've lost to like weird board states out of Doddy Void Walker before, and I don't want that to happen here. Uh, do I cut Wasteland this matchup? I, yeah, I do. Okay, that's what I figured. I think that natural order is just it will win more games than like a random Wasteland will. I don't think we can keep this. This is like two blanks here. This is also not good. I don't remember what did our first hand have a Thoughtseize? If so, I should not mold that. Wow. All right. They mode a 4 too, which is like interesting. Uh, land probably. I think there are like hands that have Magus. I'm just like randomly play around that. Oh my god, they have it. Wow. Okay. Nothing we can do about that. Actually, that was a mistake. I needed to keep the land. So I can top deck the. Well, I'm probably dead regardless. Yeah, alright. I'm not getting that. I don't remember or not. I think we would have been dead to that. Oh my god, 1 to 4 and we lose. I don't remember if our opening hand had like a Thoughtseize. I'm not sure it would have mattered because they went turn one, disarm you, turn two, combo. So that's like as good as it's gonna get. So yeah, I don't know if it would have mattered. This matchup is like way closer than I would like because we're not on Leyland of the Void, and like we don't always know they're on Reanimer game one. In the case of today, we had a hunch, but I just got lucky against them. I just happened to open Reclaimer game one on the play and won the other day. Sure. It's got pitch. It's does a little bit of everything. Oh my god. Mm, I guess, yeah. I didn't even think about that because I only played the matchup once. Uh oh. My guess is the reason why they would play Pedo, they have show and tell maybe. Technically, I could have just played the Once Upon a Time, see if I hit a Reclaimer or something, but not playing the sharpest here. Didn't matter as I hit a fiend. Oof, that is an absolutely insane hit. I wonder if they're trying to like do it the same turn. Well, I'm gonna play this out. Question here is, what am I getting? I feel like the answer is Reclaimer, but the bog is already on the field. That's definitely slamming down. So it depends if we want two layers of protection, right? They probably have a discard spell by now. So we're just trying to end the game by putting a hoof into play. That's a good top deck. Two Exhumes. So I know the line that we lost to would have been the Entomb line. So let's take that. Actually, that's a mistake. Okay, I'm getting sloppy here. I needed to really attack with all, but I don't think it's gonna matter. Unless I just drew another Entomb. You are right. I mentioned that right now, Dragon Dawn. Yeah, I think so. You can just do it twice, right? If need be. I don't think I care. Luckily, we didn't get punished by top deck and tomb. We're getting a little sloppy, but like we're pretty much in command. Actually, it's just game now. So the hoof is like relevant for like just to close the door, right? And here, no need to accidentally mill the hoof. So we're stopping their 5-0 here. Yeah. All right. Maybe one more. It's getting a little late. Yeah, we could put the thing back in response to the exhume. That's true. Although it didn't really matter because like they're either dead or they're not there in that particular scenario. But you are right. I please forgive me. I am playing a little sloppy here. It is late and I'm a little well. It's hard to say rusty, but I haven't. But yeah, I think being dealt, being reanimated, like I feel pretty good about the deck. The hard part I think I mentioned too is like right now I'm like doing the bare minimum. I don't like care about Delver. Like I want the invigorates because of the red matchups, the mono red matchups. Also initiative is good there too, right? Like for combat. Basically ancient tomb. I want the invigorates, and they happen to be good enough against Delver. Snuff out again for initiative and the ancient tomb matchups. Seas the force of vigor. You can argue you don't really need, but I'm not sure what would replace it. Like it's kind of a unique effect. And then really the only flex spot then is the Leyline Sanctity, right? Like we don't really have much play anymore in our deck. Playing against random deck. A card that I used to play that I like got tempted to try again was the Golgari Rot Farm. I just think it's just too bad to redraw though. It does some things for our deck, but I think it's a killer if you draw. Oof. Alright, we may get punished for this keep. 4 land hand with 2 dorks. Was hoping that Once Upon a Time would hit either a artisan or a reclaimer, but did not. Endurance is like much more situational. Looks like we're playing against lands. It's good practice, like you can reasonably see in a tournament. Oof, that's quite the start. So the interesting thing here is like they could have just P-fired our higher. I don't think they have that. Like we can get an Atraxa and just like try to reload, or hold the natural order for next turn and then try again. I feel like just trying to reload here is probably better. If they had P5, they would have killed the higher. I guess we don't play around crop rotation there on Wasteland on the thing. I think we're okay with that. Once Cradle, probably the natural order again. I think we're okay with that. Like they're hellbent now, right? Oh my god, they have another card rotation. Jesus. I guess we would have lost anyways then. Wow. Okay. I'm trying to think. Like, should we have waited? I feel like the answer's no, but I could be wrong. Like, we could put the endurance in chump block. Then we don't have lethal, and then it becomes problematic from there. So yeah, if we waited, we would have had to put the endurance into play. Put the thing. They do it instant. We're forced to chump. We natural order. We get the Atraxa. We still lose. I think. Uh, this matchup is a little bit worse now because we have like actual bad cards against them. Um, Namely, we have to keep in the shepherds. Sure. Their sequencing was like weird too. I guess they didn't want us to potentially draw into like Spirit Guide and into like Legolas's quick reflexes. I don't know. Maybe they're playing around that. But yeah, if we didn't go for it, we would have had to been we would have been forced to block. Best card in the deck. So we can get another Atraxa again here. Just whether it's worth it. I think so. Like they literally have the nuts there. And we can pitch the Shepherd now, which is like trash in the matchup. Actually, let's do this. I can pitch the Fiend Artisan. and then sack the Allosaurus Shepherd. Just reload, right? Wasteland seems pretty good here. And I guess on endurance. Wow, that's a bad Atraxa, but that's okay. The Wasteland actually is kind of helpful here because a Reclaimer is not going to be, for a Caracas, is not going to be good enough. I think if I do. Do I care about endurance right now? I feel like I don't. I probably should have revealed my hand there, but maybe it doesn't matter. Should have attacked first. Wasteland, my wasteland. Interesting. Okay. Ugh, I wish I had not. Okay. Now that hurts. Verdant, Taiga, Wasteland. Luckily, nothing relevant. It's probably a Tabernacle, if I were to guess. So the funny thing about that is, I could just let the thing die and everything grows. But we have lethal anyways. My guess is they're not fully focused right now too. Their plays seem a little bit kind of like they're just winging it. If that makes sense. Maybe they're like preoccupied. I think I would have taken a different line if I were them, but that's neither here nor there. Um, We're dead to a Merit Lage with this hand, but I'm not sure we're beating that regardless. It top decks well for what it's worth, so let's just try it. One of the weaknesses of this deck is we can be a little bit susceptible to Merit Lage, depending on if we care or not. Like when I've cared, I play like Pithing Needle or like the Caracas package, but right now, I guess we're not respecting it. Interesting. If they don't have Merit Lage and we hit our land drops, it's probably hard for them to win. I think here we take the Artisan. Everything else is like not relevant. Maybe a loam here. Kind of surprised they didn't. Well, it's hard to say. Library, interesting. And they're missing land drops. I typically try to sandbag my Cradle, um, but I think getting a Reclaimer online just might be too relevant, and I'm definitely trying to shut this off. Like you try to save Cradle for the. Ideally, the line is you save the Cradle in hand, so that you can actually go have the double Cradle turn with the Reclaimer. The thing is, like, I think getting the Reclaimer online here is just too important right now. Like, in case they have some kind of, like, graveyard shenanigans. Sure. They shouldn't take an 8, I think, with the library, but that's. So the question here is, do I preemptively bog? I actually don't think so. I think if they want to waste their mana, we probably let them. All right. One thing's for sure, we're bashing first and then seeing. They do have a wasteland too, which is like kind of annoying. I guess we'll just pass. We're gonna allow them alone because if they want to spend 2 mana and tap out, I think we live with that. Ooh, okay, interesting. I didn't expect that. I can get a Traxa here. I'm kind of kicking myself because I was supposed to fetch and just like brain farted through it again. Luckily, I can undo that mistake, I guess. It cost me 1 mana because I didn't do that. Ooh, that Wasteland here is like pretty good. We didn't hit an endurance though, but all right. I guess they cannot beat this because they're under a lock, a soft lock now, right? Um, yeah, we could just get the Wasteland. Wasteland when needed. All right. It's already 12-18. Man, we're 3-0 too. Should we go for the 5-0? I'm gonna use the restroom. I'll think about it. We'll see what chat says. Here's the list. uh, all right, we'll do it. I was gonna when I was using the restroom right now, I was like, oh, maybe I should do the responsible thing. I guess we're gonna do the irresponsible thing right now. Luckily, this is just play money for me, I guess, right? MTGO. Let's put up the deck again. Um, like I have this analysis that I made using like you want to call it analytics. I essentially score cards based on what I think of the card on anywhere from a one is like a perfect rating, I guess. A zero is just like negligible. Uh, like point 0.5 is my criterion is like point 0.5 is for high impact or but then slow or uh, situational but efficient. So things like that. Point 0.25, point 0.5, 0.75, and 1. And then I multiply that by the metagame percentage. And Invigorate, Thoughtseize, and Snuff Out in the sideboard were the high scoring sideboard cards. Invigorate, you told me that like a year ago. I would be surprised, but I think the applications against Bowmasters and the proliferation, I guess, of Fury decks has made it a lot better now than it was. I think it was a little too narrow maybe before, but it's hard to say because I never tested it until I want to say like November or whatever, late November or early December. I think it was late November. The funny thing is, I went to Vegas actually. That was where my wife's trip was, and we didn't even actually gamble because I just didn't have the time. Uh, Presumably 8 casts, but I'm not sure. Uh, Basic Island is interesting. Like, what has Shadow Spear in Basic Island? I think only 8 casts, really. I think we're just gonna take another Shepherd. And then we're just gonna flood board next turn. Just F6, I guess. I can bash for not quite 20, but a lot next turn. In hindsight, maybe the Cradle would have been nice, but we didn't know for sure. Our opponent has had somewhat of a slow start, and I think in this matchup it's going to be problematic for them. Like, there's no pressure right now. Cannoneer? Maybe I spoke too soon. Sure. I don't think that's going to race what we potentially have, though. We can lock out their mana right now. I think it's that. We're just ramping essentially. And I'm gonna eat their yard. Alright, we're just F6. Now we should have lethal. So we want 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, we have 10 mana now. One thing about Artisan that has improved compared to Glimpse of Nature is you get to play a lot more aggressively to the board instead of holding creatures in hand. Yeah, they needed a way faster start. Like, that's the only way I think they can win. No endurances in this matchup. And I don't remember what I did. I think I took out the bog. Arguments have been made actually that well, I guess this pitches the force. Speaking of the devil. Sure. Do I care? That could be metallic rebuke, and then I would be like not happy, but okay. Now I kind of like regretting my life's choices, right? They still could have cast the Emery for what it's worth, just not the automaton. So the question here is like, I don't even think that does anything anymore. I think I'm misplaying this game. I should have just probably hit the Saga. Not to deal with the construct. Yeah, I think the correct line there was pitch the saga. Well, I could have. The problem is the Emery keeps bringing the patchwork back too. If I go down that route, definitely doing this. Mm, that's kind of problematic. What the hell is that? Yeah, I completely butchered this game. I don't have enough for lethal. Yeah, hopefully. think we might still pull this one out. As crazy as that sounds. I think they boarded all their forces too. So this has trample. So if I do that, I think I'm just short, unfortunately. 12, 14. So, okay, that's 12. I gained 7, that's 9. So I do have to do it this way. So 8, I go to 1. Okay, I miscounted, but that's fine. I have to hope they don't have force. Jesus, okay. I wonder if take 12. Okay. I can hardcast Invigorate next turn, is what I just realized. I can hope Fiend Artisan back to block. That's annoying. Man, okay, this is like taking longer than I want. I like screwed this game up. I should have won easily. Ugh, okay, that's the end then. I just concede. The mistake I made was not using the force of vigor more proactively. And I feel like now I'm gonna cost myself because of that mistake. I didn't keep a particularly great hand too, and man, now I'm just mad at myself. No land hand, interesting. Yep, I should have quit while I was ahead. Do they just not have blue mana? What is going on? Yeah, I. This is probably the last game, regardless. Like, I think I win that previous game easily if I just like pay attention. Now I kind of wish I had that bog, right? Not that it would matter. They have the baubles anyways. Shoot. I don't think we're winning this game. We need to draw action too. Just blank center hand. That's a start. I think we can bluff. Interesting. Maybe we should have played the wasteland, but Jesus. Wow, they don't have the force. Actually, what am I doing? I should have maybe gone for the hoof. Maybe I should have gone for the hoof because, well, let me see. That would have potentially been 8 plus 18. Oh, it's not even lethal, so. They have to bounce the Atraxa. That's like a force play there. And the Shepherd means the Green Sun's unlocked next turn. Man, minimum I'll have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 creatures. Took longer than we thought, but we got there. My computer's lagging now too. It's like 40 damage. Alright, there's only one more, but it's already too late, and I don't think I can go further than this. I know there's only one more, but we'll just have to table it for another day. Alright, everyone, thank you for hanging out. Sorry we couldn't finish in time. I do think this deck is good, as evident by the 4-0 here. Yeah, I don't think I would make any changes. I think the Leyline of Sanctity felt pretty nice. Let's raid the Legacy European. What is it? Legacy European Tour. I don't know if the caps matter or not. Alright, thank you everyone for hanging out. Here's my socials once again.